to ascertain what actually occurred at the meeting of December 13th. What actually occurred at the meeting of December 13th was a motion made, seconded, and approved to approve the retirement of City Clerk M.J. Sell. If I understand correctly, he's reversing his decision in this letter that we've received to him to look at the intent of what that motion was. From what I've understand from having some meetings with some attorneys that have no interest in this issue, intent is something that's usually considered during criminal law proceedings and doesn't really have anything to do with motions. Now, if intent for motions and ordinances and laws was what we looked at, the implications of that is staggering. In other words, no matter what a motion said, everything that was talked about during the discussion fits into that motion, whether the motion actually says that or not. So that it bothers me that he has flip-flopped. It has not escaped my attention that the implications of this whole thing are widespread, stretching out across the entire state. If we let something like this go through, it could be the demise of several city, local governments through our state. People can't afford all this. It bothers me that he's gone against, that he's suggested he goes against the Attorney General's opinion that public funds should be used for the public, the entire public. It bothers me that we're sitting here talking about taking public funds from the public people to give to an individual with no input from the public, with no vote, no tax millage to support this fund. We're talking about just taking money from the public and giving it to somebody. I haven't found anything that supports it. I've asked for a lot of information that would support that. I've been told it either doesn't exist or the people I've asked for it from do not have access to these case files, these ordinances, these acts. The whole thing just stinks to high heaven to me. It bothers me very much that the people don't have, that if we do this, the people have no say in how we're going to use their money. We're just going to give their money to somebody. It doesn't escape my attention that there are at least a few people sitting right at this table that could possibly apply for this sort of money within the next few years. That would make a huge impact on our budget. All that bothers me. It doesn't set well with me to take the people's money and give it to somebody. It just doesn't seem right. I looked for the enabling ordinance for a deputy city clerk of the city of Eureka Springs. The answer was, we don't have one. I asked for Act 313 of 1957 and subsequent amendments thereto. Not available. Nobody had it. Nobody could show it to me. I understand that that it's been suggested that if we don't give this money to the former city clerk, a lawsuit may be brought against us, and we may lose. Of course, we've heard that argument before in the cell tower issue, and There was never a lawsuit, and we still don't have a cell tower. Furthermore, it doesn't seem right to me to give the people's money to somebody without the people having a say on it. That just does not sit well with me. There is no fund. There never was a fund. MJ paid into, the former city clerk paid into a pension plan in '93. She withdrew that money. It was not sitting there gathering interest. It was not being invested. She took it. She took the money and closed that account out. As far as lawsuits, I've been informed that if we do give this money to the former city clerk treasurer, there is a group of people who intend to bring a lawsuit for misappropriation of public funds, which is a felony offense and carries jail time. So it looks like one way or the other, we probably will be facing a lawsuit. I prefer not to be sued for a felony charge. So once again, I'm going to have to vote present on this because I think we're proceeding illegally. An attorney is an attorney. An attorney chooses a side and argues for that side. An attorney does not interpret the law. A judge interprets the law. I can't get behind this still. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Mr. DeVito.
It's quite clear in the state statutes as to where the money can draw from. It can draw from the general fund. It's quite clear that you can count years as a deputy city clerk along with the city clerk. That's quite clear in state law. And they are very clear about who can receive this. It's not salaried city employees. It's people that have been elected to office. So I'm fairly certain that we're not talking about this large stampede of people who work for the city as salaried employees, but we are talking about what the state statute specifically lays out for us. And that is very narrow and very defined in where that money can come from. So, I mean, we've all seen the state law regarding this. It's very clear and concise in how it is to be dispersed, and we've followed the law accordingly. That's why the Municipal League has rendered the opinion that they have, and that favors the actions that the last council took. So it's pretty clear from the leading authorities on municipal law in the state what their position is. We asked and they answered. We have received their opinion. It is quite clear and succinct about what the actions of the last council were, and I don't think there's any gray areas involved here.
Is that it? Are you finished?
That's it.
Mr. Brady, you have your hand up? No.
I'm afraid this might open the floodgate for everybody, and I don't think we have the money to do this. I mean, nothing against the lady personally or anything, but I don't believe she has it coming. I just can't see how we can do something like this, because who's next in line? You get 10 people doing this, what are we going to do? We can't do it. And like the lady said over here, the public's going to throw a fit. I have not talked about one person who thought she should receive this, and that was a phone call in my office. Mm-hmm. I've had over 30. I get it every day. Have you done this yet? Have you done this yet? I say, no, it's still on the agenda. So I'm not behind it one bit, and I'll vote present as well.
Mr. Pownall, do you have your hand up?
I just have a couple of questions. First of all, I would like to publicly state that I have not been on any kind of vendetta headhunt against Ms. Sell or anybody that might be in this position. I didn't even have all the facts that should have been presented to even make a decent ethical decision on it. Number one, and it's my own fault. I was gone all day to a funeral in Fayetteville. In the second paragraph of the answer back from Mr. Schoen, he states that I've reviewed the minutes of the Eureka Springs Council meeting and the YouTube video of that meeting at which the motion was made and passed to grant retirement benefits to the previous clerk. And if my mind bodes me well, we corrected the minutes of that meeting to take benefits out. All that the council did was vote to approve her retirement. And I think beyond that, you're getting into semantics as far as what that intent meant. Does it automatically mean we roll over and start cutting checks the next month, or what? The thing that tied in with that, also in the fourth paragraph, he says, in my opinion, the lack of a vote to formally approve the prior service should not be fatal to granting the pension. I mean, I don't understand. If the code says it's up to the council to approve bridging the years of work, then how can he sit there and say that lack of a vote, had they not voted to approve it, make it automatic that she start receiving the pension? And I would like to know, for a matter of record, which I just found out, let's see if I can find the date of my FOIA request that I had to make as a council member trying to do my job and pay for. I would like to know if the two sitting members that voted yes sat with the copy of Ms. Sell's termination form in front of them whenever they made the decision to approve the time that she held the position of deputy clerk. The other thing that had eluded me in all my research until such time that I was granted a copy is whether or not there was even a deputy clerk position in existence. And if you look at the May 22nd, 1990 minutes under new business, number 4, new deputy clerk, the mayor announced that Mary Jean Sell, newly appointed mayor's administrative liaison to the commissions, is due a wage adjustment to $6 an hour, and there was attached a long letter pleading her case for a raise. And it said that they made an announcement in regards to her being made the deputy clerk because the city clerk would like to have her act as the deputy clerk with the approval of council, and she was sworn in at that time. So that cleared up from 1990 until she was terminated in 1995, which was basically 4 years. But in my opinion, had this, and opinions are just that, opinions, I think if I'd been sitting here looking at a record of an employee's track record where somebody has been terminated for cause, and it basically was poor job performance, granted severance pay and earned vacation pay, and the council voted unanimously to basically let her not retain her job.